This podcast is recorded on Ngunnawal country. We recognise the Ngunnawal people as the original and rightful custodians of the land and extend our respect to elders past and present. We acknowledge that sovereignty was never ceded.
Welcome to the Wreck Me podcast. My name's Jake.
And I'm AJ. Each week we recommend each other albums based on a theme, and then we see if it'll go into our rotation. So for the theme this week, we chose Australian artists. The two albums that were picked were Every Now and Then by Jagwar and Maybe in Another Life by Bloom. And I think Jake's going to go first this week. So do you want to crack into it?
Yeah. So this week for you, I've chosen Maybe in Another Life by Bloom, who are one of my favorite bands. I did want to give you something a little bit different because last week we went with Polaris and I've gone with Bloom this week, which is, they're quite a similar genre, but just given the opportunity to present them to you when they were my second pick last round and they just happened to fit for this theme as well, I couldn't pass up that opportunity. And yeah, this is their debut album. Yeah, they opened for Thornhill a couple of years ago before they'd even released an album, and I was instantly a fan. They were incredible, and yeah, interested to see how you, as someone who doesn't listen to that much heavy music, see how you appreciate.
Yeah. I gave this like 5 or 6 listens.
Yeah, it's quite short as well. I don't think it goes
yeah. And I had it on just on repeat. So I whack it on in the car, and you'll realise once we get to the end of this that I got a little bit confused about the track order because I'm doing my final sit down, write my notes thing, and I got a little bit thrown out. First impressions of it. This is this is what I was expecting with Polaris. Right?
Oh, okay, yeah.
So when I said last time, I thought it was going to be pretty standard metalcore fare or hardcore or whatever. This is what I thought Polaris was going to be, right? So I actually felt okay, I
know what I'm in for.
I'm figuring out what the nuances and all the little differences in bands are throughout this whole world of heavy music. I did struggle again to tune in with the heavy vocals. In saying that, from the start, it was really catchy. While I'm driving.
Yeah, it starts fast and it stays fast.
Yeah. Track 1, An Entry. It builds up really nicely. I like that it's an intro to the album, but it's also an intro to Maybe in Another Life, the next track.
Yeah.
And I think that's really clever. It lets Maybe Another... It's so hard to say. It lets Maybe in Another Life breathe on its own. As a single, you don't want your single...
To be relying on another part.
Yeah, to have such a long build-up.
Yeah.
But when you put them together, it works really nicely.
Yeah.
I really enjoyed that. Not much to say on it. It's an intro. It is what it is. Maybe in Another Life is the title track, obviously, and it's a really great start to the album. Ironically, it has a really cool intro. The song's intro,
itself,
separate from an entry, is a really good intro. I felt like it has a really, a sense of yearning for understanding. It really sets the tone for what they're going for musically and lyrically, and a lot of what they talk about throughout the rest of the album. And it's this need for understanding, which I picked up on that straight away.
Yeah,
with that first song.
Very much, and it was a very bold choice for your first ever album to be a concept album. I don't know if I'm sure you picked up on that at least probably halfway through. You go, oh, hang on, this is all very thematic.
We're sitting in the same realm, yeah.
Yeah.
No, I like that.
So it was, everything is sort of based around, again, just maybe in another life. And just, an album that feels like an album thematically, and yeah, you pretty much get that intention straight off the rip.
Yep, I did. I really, yeah. I mean, I didn't actually put together that it's a concept album, but you know, I would have got there eventually.
Yeah, and again, if you're someone who doesn't listen to a lot of heavy music, like you're probably not catching the lyrics as much as like someone like me would. But when you sort of just, and also you haven't run the album 30 odd times, like.
I mean, I'm a quarter of the way there. I did give it a good solid few playthroughs. Around listen 5, and this was before I sat down and was reading the lyrics.
Yeah.
I really heard, like it popped out, the Australian accent in the heavy vocals. And like I think that they go quite hand in hand. It was a nice thing. It feels nice to hear.
There are a lot of Australian artists of pretty much any genre that just won't sing with the accent just to make it more, I guess, commercially viable.
Yeah.
But because it is so, like, I guess accents are quite generally indistinguishable in heavier vocals. Obviously not entirely, but it's just like you can't immediately tell where someone's from, and therefore it doesn't rule them out of like a market. But,
yeah. But in saying that, I actually really enjoy recognizing Australian voices because it feels like it's a bit of patriotism there. Like, I'm like,
I'm supporting one of ours.
Yes, yeah. Like I wrote down, it really suits, and it instantly made it 3 times better. I felt like a sense of camaraderie. I'm like, yeah, okay, I'm locked in now. Because because I wasn't listening so deeply, I wasn't fully absorbing the words. But once I discerned, like, figured out the speech pattern, I'm like, oh, I know what they're saying without reading it now. Track number 3, Siren Song. I really liked that in the intro, there's this little trill of noses, like, it's very subtle, but it like adds so much.
So much character.
Yeah. It's like, and now I know what I'm in for. The halftime breakdown in, I think it's the first chorus, very cool. I really, really like a nice change of pace without a change of energy. Like, it feels like it's ramping it up, even though
it's slowed down. Technically,
it's like Whiplash, you know. Whoa, okay.
This is good news because there's a fair bit of that that goes on.
Yes, yeah. I'm really like, okay. The line, "I've come too far to go back," fuck, like, is like so. It's like, yes. It's really, like, I found it really funny when I was reading it.
The lyrics.
But in context, it also
makes sense.
Like, it's so emotionally powerful.
And you can't even, like, on a listen, if you didn't, you would just think it was like a scream.
Yeah.
It's just like, "Rah!"
Yeah.
But when
We've
you
come
listen...
too far to go back. Fuck! Like, I've been there.
Yeah.
I'm like, in that moment of being like, fuck! Like, there's nothing else for me in this moment but to just, like, let that come out. And
I love that. That's so good.
It's really cool. And the breakdown at the end, I just wrote, goes so fucking hard.
Oh, Siren Song.
So cool. Next up, Bound to Your Whispers. It feels like Siren Song Part 2.
It's very similar.
Yeah.
Yes.
And now that you've pointed out that it's a concept album, it does make sense for it to flow through. You know, I'm thinking in terms of like an opera or like a classical suite where it's the same motifs, it's the same, essentially one big song, just broken down into parts for convenience sake and broken up at the right parts so that it's marketable and you can make singles out of it and that sort of thing. But I really like when things flow nicely without...
While still being separate entities.
Yeah. It's its own separate thing.
It's like if a song starts and it feels like you've started halfway through, like, it doesn't feel right.
Yeah.
But if you have a song that still flows into that song, but it still feels like the start of that song on its own, it's,
Yeah.
is the best thing about having listened to an album like cover to cover.
Yes. This is like another thing of why I wanted to do this, is like I don't do that enough.
Yeah.
I just put the playlist on shuffle and random songs come up and it takes you out of it. In this bit where he sings "You Won't Need Anybody Else," that clean vocal delivery is really like a really like it was a really nice choice of melody, I guess. Like it just, and it's starting to show like that they're very talented vocalists in both their heavy vocals and clean vocals.
Different people this time. You've got
Yeah.
two different people. Like Jono will do a couple of the, depending on song, but they're different vocalist.
Yeah, right. I did notice that later, that there's multiple vocalists, because they do kind of go back and forth.
To be fair, when you see them live, there are about 4 of them that have a crack at it. So it's like, you never know where it's coming from.
Who's going to be singing? I like that. That's cool. It was just a really nice delivery on that. Carve Yourself Into My Lungs. I felt that it was kind of jarring, because I haven't come across this before, to have such a mellow track still have the heavy vocals. Because most of my experience is with like when there's a slowdown and the music is not heavy anymore, we take a break from the heavy vocals. It's sort of like a breather. It grew on me. I did on subsequent listens, because I was like
more expecting it.
Well, not just that, but I was also getting more familiar, like understanding the heavy vocals a bit better. It didn't irk me so much, but it's still, and it was. I thought it was worth pointing out, because it's not something that I've.
Because I have the opposite sort of effect with it. It's like, it almost adds that exclamation point. It's like, yeah, we've slowed down, but it just like, sort of punches the message through that is still being driven by, like, say in this instance, the first half of the song. It's just that exclamation point at the end. Yes.
It was this song where I figured out who the clean vocals were reminding me of. And it's, do you know All Day? The rapper?
I fucking hate All Day.
I was like, man, this sounds a bit like All Day. That's cool. I like that. All right, note, do not recommend All Day.
To be fair, I don't think I've listened to that much All Day, other than the stuff that's just like constantly overplayed everywhere.
Yeah.
So by virtue of that, I've just been...
Okay. Yeah, not for everyone,
My brothers are calling me, and I don't know if it's going to have fucked up the camera.
So the clean vocals sound like All Day, and I thought that was pretty sweet, because I've liked a few of his songs.
That's interesting. Yeah, because again, the only All Day song that I can think of is the one where he's like, always know the DJ.
No.
Yeah, I've heard that. And we probably have very different, like, the All Day that I know would be stuff from like 10 to 12 years ago, probably.
Yeah.
Even longer.
Most of my exposure to All Day is the stuff that he did most recently. Well, I don't even know if it's most recently. The stuff that he did that was a departure from the rap.
Right. Yeah.
So it's
probably stuff that I haven't heard.
Poppy album. Yeah. Which is why the vocals, it's more of, it's on the same cadence and with the Australian accent as well.
Yeah. Interesting. Yeah.
I liked it. It was a sweet little break. Carve Yourself Into My Lungs is a nice song. Track number 6, You and I. I'm really noticing the Aussie accent on the clean vocals more now. And then I've written like 2 vocalists, both heavy and clean. Or is there one doing heavy and one's doing clean, and then sometimes they do?
In You and I...
Because I feel like there's a lot of like harmonies, like singing at the same time.
I don't think there is any... I wouldn't say there's any heavy vocals in that. I think that's the one song on the album, which was because why I thought...
Right.
carve yourself in
okay.
your lungs. Your point there was interesting, where it's like,
Yes.
you still get that scream, and I was
Yes.
like, well,
No. So my question is, throughout the whole album,
yeah,
is there two? Do they both do both,
no.
or are they separate?
You'll get Jono, who does the heavy vocals,
Yep.
is doing one of the cleans here,
Yep.
and like a little bit here and there, but not so much. But that is, I think, hearing it would be the one where you've sort of picked up on the accent, because his in it is just really like, you can tell.
Yeah. Okay. That makes a lot of sense. I really love the opening riff. I feel like this is the most memorable song. This is the one that I like will pop into my head, like, and I'll just be going about my day, and if I think about Bloom, I'll be like,
Yeah.
oh yeah, that song.
This is good. That was my easily, the one that when I was absolutely smashing it, was getting the most plays. It was my number one on my Spotify Wrapped the year that came out, 2024.
Okay.
Copped an absolute flogging. And there was...
What do you mean it copped a flogging?
Like, I just listened to it.
Oh, right.
Oh,
I
no,
thought
yeah,
you meant
no. People loved it.
Yeah.
No,
I was like,
just-
what's the controversy here?
No. Funny little anecdote. I really liked, like, I loved it. And there's a tattoo artist in Sydney that did a flash piece
Right.
with a piece based on lyrics from each of the songs on this album. And then I saw the You and I one, and I was like, fuck, I've got to get that. Like, I love that song. And then, like, I booked it in with her and everything. I told her, I was like, I want the You and I one. And she was like, cool. And then I looked at it a couple of days later, and I was like, that's not the You and I one. It's like a very similar lyric from later in the album.
Yeah.
So there's lyric in You and I is another time, another place. Another time, another place. And then the lyric in that I got, I have to check this, is another life, another place, instead of another time, another place. And because it's a concept
Right.
album, it's repeated.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, I love this song so much, I'm going to get that tattoo of it. And I just got the
not
one
the
of a
right
completely different song, which I also love, but it's just like,
Yeah.
fucking idiot.
Yeah. Well, at least it's not permanent, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, so what I really like about this song is that it shows off those clean vocals really well.
Yeah.
And actually, it works really nicely. And I was, really impressed by that. And it's beautifully sad. It's a beautifully sad song. I like that. Fragments of a Dream. I've written... Like I did this a couple of days ago, so I was like, what was I thinking? This is just my thoughts at the time. I wrote, more nice, clean vocals, but I'm getting sick of being sad. Literally, the last thing I wrote on the last song was like, that was so beautifully sad.
Yeah.
All right, I'm over being sad. I want to get back to that frantic, angry energy at this point. I'm like, okay, I'm ready to ramp it back up.
Well.
This song really reminds me of All Day, particularly in the choice of melody, which is like, there's a song by him called Stolen Cars, and that's the dun, 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 like that kind of.
You humming the melody
Yeah,
makes me think that I have actually heard that song.
yeah. There you go. Laughing Stock. This is, I was like, yeah. We're
Back to what you
into
had
it.
just requested.
Yeah. And then it's like, too much. It's over too quickly. It's too short. I needed more. It fucking rips though. It's not that it is not long enough. I think that it's the right length for the type of song that it is. It feels
it's just like full aggression and absolutely
yes,
nothing else.
It's like really, it's a real punk song.
Yeah, very visceral.
Yeah. An Exit. Now this is where I got confused. because
understandably
this song is
so.
called An Exit, right?
And the intro track is called An Entry.
And it is. So I'm like, oh great, we're done. Like this is the last song. Oh man, I'm so sad that it's over. Blah blah blah. Right, so we're ending with a bang. It's probably the best song on the album.
Yeah.
I feel like that stands regardless of whether it's the last track or not.
That is the consensus very much within
Yeah.
the band. Like
Oh.
every time I see them, they're like,
Yep.
this is the best song off that album. And then I didn't know what they were going to play. And I was like, oh, okay, that's what we're feeling.
Okay. And I was like, I'm kind of sad that it's over. Blah blah blah. I'd even like, before the song had finished and I was writing things down, I'd started writing like what my standouts were, blah blah blah. And then I look up, and because it does the same thing so seamlessly, blending like seamlessly into Through the Threshold Beyond the Bend, I looked up and we're halfway through a different song. And I was like, well, they should swap the names, first of all.
However, I'm going to have to disagree there.
Okay.
Because now knowing it's a concept album, An Exit being like the first, I don't know, it's 11-track album, I think, maybe. I might be wrong there.
I think it's 10.
To say the first 9 is just like, this is the beginning, this is everything horrible. All right, I'm done. I'm out. Like, this is it.
Yeah.
But then the final, like Through the Threshold, is what's on the other side of that. That is the Another Life track to maybe In Another Life. Your exit is just like your end of this life, but this is where what's beyond that.
Yeah.
Which is why, again, just to look at, confusing. But once you understand that it is a concept album and that is what's running through, it makes a lot more sense.
Yeah, well, I take it back. I literally wrote, it should be swapped unless I'm missing something. And I was. I like that they flow through. Again, I like that blending, sort of, that the tracks are separate entities. They do, like, it definitely has its own definitive start, but
Again,
they,
if you just
they
run it
match
through,
in tone, they match in speed, all of that. And here's my real overall thoughts. It was a nice journey, and although I came around to it, it's still, I wouldn't put it up there as something that I would consider like I'm really gonna, slam this over and over. Like, it was a nice package and I enjoyed it. I did feel like I wanted to get an idea of what else. So I went and listened to The Light We Chase.
Interesting, because I was like tossing between the two, and I was like, I do think The Light We Chase is probably more up your alley.
Yeah.
But I think as an album, maybe Another Life just flows better. So I thought, if we're going to do that, that's what I'm going to go with.
Yeah, well, obviously this is a debut album. And I did notice, my thoughts were that the second album had a little bit more thought put into it, and it was an easier listen.
Yeah, there's a lot more variety in that. Again, not being a concept album, they can just sort of do what they want, and it is a lot lighter as well. Like, there are some heavy tracks on there, but there's a lot more clean vocals and just like slower moments that are probably more accessible.
Yeah, I obviously didn't give the second album as many listens. I don't really have much else to say.
I honestly, in recommending it, I was like, it might be a bit much for you, but I'm gonna just like push the boundary, because I think there are like I listened to way heavier, but I think that it was like on the heavy side, but still just a really complete album that's like relatively accessible in terms of like the vocals being intelligible, and there are those like little breaks in between where it's not just like assaulting you the whole way through.
Yeah, standouts for this one were definitely You and I, Laughing Stock, and An Exit. Those were like...
Laughing Stock's interesting because it is just the hot and heavy one.
Yeah, but like, it's
much.
It's like a roller coaster.
Yeah.
You know, like I don't want to go on a roller coaster every day, but when I want to be on the roller
I
coaster,
want to be on there.
and I also want it to be over
Yeah.
quickly, and it is, right? So yeah, no, I just really liked the energy of those three particular songs, and like you said, like You and I being the most, was it their most played? Like that was the one that probably got the most.
Definitely got the most plays. It was my most played of that year, and it's just like, nice little catchy ballad in the middle.
Yeah,
I think it was the first single they dropped as well, maybe.
Yeah,
one or two.
It definitely feels more marketable. Yeah, You and I is definitely the most marketable song.
After a couple listens, is it going in the rotation?
I think this is like a 50-50. Like, definitely
partially,
the standout songs are, but it's not an album that's going in my rotation, because it will definitely, some of those songs in a playlist or in like a playthrough will get skips. I'm just like,
Not from me.
I'm picking particularly a few that can go into a playlist of songs that match.
Sure, yeah.
But it's not something that I'm going to chuck on as an album.
Which is what I suspected, but to push the envelope a little bit.
I think it was a good introduction to that, like...
Maybe slightly less accessible, because like, again, last week we did The Death of Me by Polaris, which is a heavy album, but there is so much melody about
accessible,
that.
For a newcomer.
And Bloom are more... The genre they get thrown under is melodic hardcore.
Yes,
rather
wrote
than
that down.
metalcore. So that's,
yeah, I was on the melodic hardcore subreddits having a look. That's another interesting thing as well. There was not much about them online. They don't have a Wikipedia page.
They are still a relatively small band.
Yeah.
Yet to have their moment, which they will. Like, they will inevitably become one of Australia's big, heavy bands.
Mm-hmm.
I hope. But given their track record and the way they're going and the way they tour,
Yeah, I definitely see that. I think they're very talented. Even if it's not all for me, like it's objectively, they're fantastic at what they do. I found on a bunch of the forums that I was looking at to get some information about them, the consensus is that they're generally one of the best bands doing what they're doing, which is it's pretty standard hardcore, but they're doing it really well. So yeah,
we love Bloom.
Yeah, we love some of Bloom.
Sweet.
Good rec. That was a good rec. So my pick for you this week was Every Now and Then. Why are these album names so hard to say? I feel like mushmouth every time I'm saying it. Every Now and Then. I picked it because it's very different from what you're probably used to, even outside of your like hardcore realm.
Yeah.
Like, I don't think that you would have ventured into this kind of world. And I really threw it out just because I was curious about like how it would land with you. So I'm very keen to hear what you have to say.
Yeah, I had never heard of them.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't really even have a guess for genre. I was expecting maybe kind of like indie psychedelic rock, which it's not really, but there's also a bit of everything, so they kind of throw that in there. Mm-hmm. I think we approached this a little bit differently just in terms of like our note taking and what we say. I'm very much, I will sit down, do literally nothing else. I'll have my notebook open in front of me, and any thought that pops into my head, I just write down. Mm-hmm. And then on subsequent listens, I will sort of just add any extra notes or any corrections or anything to my thoughts. So instead of me doing like a review as such, it's just like, this is what I was thinking when I was listening to it, which is why some of this might be a bit nonsensical. But
well, spoiler, Jagwar is a little bit nonsensical, so I feel like it's fitting.
So we start off track 1, Falling. Cool little ambient intro. The vocals in it really reminded me of when back in the day you would listen to like Stairway to Heaven backwards, because they're like, oh, it's all like that. So you go, and because it's all like not distorted, but it's all like jumbled, and it's just like, "Ugh."
Yeah.
But yeah, I just thought that was interesting. It goes for like, what, 30 seconds a minute. It's just like a little intro. Then Say What You Feel starts. What stood out to me straight away was the mix. It's very spatial. Like, there are things coming at me, like, not just left and right, but like within those left and rights, you've got like just stuff hitting you everywhere.
Yeah.
And I think I'm built different. Like, my brain's wired incorrectly. So, slow music, for whatever reason, and it's just like a very specific, and I can't describe what kind of song, but there are certain slower songs that just, if I just get anxious, like I'm sitting there listening to them, like a Joni Mitchell or something, I can't sit there and listen to, because I'm like, this makes me want to just like, So I felt a bit like that at the start of this song, but then that heavy bass line comes in and picks everything up, and it's just like, okay, I'm a bit more right now. Yeah, I don't know, it's weird. It's just like, I do listen to a lot of slow music, but there are certain times, and it's just like, maybe it's just like not enough happening.
Yeah.
I'm just like trying to like,
yeah, leaves you alone with your thoughts too long.
maybe. But yeah, then that bass line kicked in. It was a nice relief from that. A very like motivational kind of sound, I guess. And it's, again, this will just be a theme of this album, because like none of the songs stay the same through. They're just sort of all over the place. And like towards the end, there was a very like jungle beat kind of thing, like very Donkey Kong.
It's
like,
is it like a steel pan comes in?
Yeah.
Is it that song?
I think so. And yeah, I was just like not expecting that, but like, you know, jaguars hang out in the jungle, I guess. This checks out. Loose Ends. It was the same kind of thing where it was like kind of slow, but then you've got that bass line that comes in. There was you probably noticed that I do this. I always sort of relate something to like external sources, and it's something I do if I'm not resonating with like a song or an artist or something. Instead of just being like, I always try and find a space where I would enjoy that.
Yeah.
Because it's never like I'm hearing it and I'm like, oh, this shit, it sucks. It's just like, oh, this just isn't my thing. It's not what I would sit down and listen to. There are instances where that happens, but I don't think it's going to happen on any of your recommendations. But this, like Loose Ends, it felt very much, and I, again, am going to do this way too much because it's what I do, but like video games that I relate stuff to.
Yeah.
The Tetris effect. I don't know how much you've played that, if at all.
The Tetris effect?
Yeah.
Specifically?
Yeah.
No, I don't
just
know
like
what that is.
It's almost like it's not a rhythm game, but it's Tetris that like the beat lines up with what you're doing.
Oh, right.
And there are levels in that I'm like, this would fit right into that, and I would appreciate that.
Cool.
But there's also some kind of percussion instrument in this, and I don't know what it is, but it is used, and it might just be a sample, but it's used in a lot of rap songs.
Yeah.
And I heard that, and I was like, oh shit, that's from like all these other things. So I'm like, that was really interesting. My favorite part of this song was the last 2 minutes, when like the beat like really just like and it was very, again, another video game reference. If you played Hotline Miami, the end of this song is like the music from that, and I was just like, again, I played that in the last 3 or 4 months and just like smashed through it, and I was like, this is like just like that, and that took me to that, and I appreciated it. Track 4, Give Me a Reason. Again, I just really appreciate the upbeat instrumentals. At this point, I've decided I don't think the vocals are for me. Like, they're not resonating. If it was the instrumentals, I'm like enjoying, but I just, for whatever reason, I'm not vibing with the vocals.
Okay.
This is a long track. There is sort of enough variety that keeps it fresh, but like on re-listens, I would get a couple minutes in and I'm like, okay, I'm ready for this one to be done. Then, to be fair, that's at like the 4-minute mark, so I'm not instantly done,
Yeah,
but I'm like
yeah.
there, and I'm like, there's still 3 minutes left, and I'm like, oh. But then we go into Ordinary, which is just immediately, it's like the strongest start of any of the songs,
Yeah.
and I'm like, all right, I'm really appreciating this. Again, another thing I say way too often, this song gives me like mad FIFA vibes. It sounds like it's got a bit of an international flair, which is kind of what they go
Yeah,
for on those soundtracks, which is I think is why it's doing that for me.
sure.
But yeah, really enjoyed the vocals on this one after having that realization just before. It's just like, I was like, and then it starts, and I was like, oh, actually,
Yeah.
I'm enjoying this. Like, yeah.
Mm.
Batter Up, we go back to like sort of a slow start again, which I think was why I liked Ordinary so much, because it starts high
Yeah.
and sort of just keeps running. Still appreciate that even though they are kind of going slow, they're keeping the tempo up so it stops me from wigging out. I can still sit there, I can listen to it. I wasn't massive on it, but now that I've made that sort of like mental connection, there's like something I could see in like a soundtrack to like a FIFA or something. It's like, oh, this is like very listenable, very like something I could throw on it to be enjoy. Obi-Wan, so funny. This was in FIFA 17. I heard it and I was like, motherfucker.
I knew.
After me just like, which I thought was so funny because I just assumed they weren't like a big band, and they probably aren't.
They're not that big.
No. Then like just like I don't remember how many streams they had, but it wasn't that many, and I was like, oh, it's a cool pick up from 10 years ago. They were in a FIFA soundtrack, and I know this song. Like it wasn't familiar. Like I know the lyrics. I know this song. So I went back and I was like, how many hours do I play in that game? It's like 220. So like I'm familiar with
you've heard it
this
a few
song.
times. Yeah. That's so crazy.
So funny that I had that like cute moment.
Yeah.
Like 2 songs later where I'm like, oh, this could fit in there, and then
It's like, and I think games like FIFA and like those long running like 2K and like every single game that they release every single year has to have some music in it, and so they obviously have a team that's like dedicated to picking
there is very much a vibe.
variety,
Like, yeah.
but that fits within what they're looking for. And so like I didn't know that was on that soundtrack, and most people probably
No.
wouldn't know.
And if you were to ask me, well, when you gave me the rec last week, I was like, cool, I've never heard a song by this band. I've never heard of them. And I would have, gone my whole life not knowing that was what that was. And then I didn't write it down, but I think it was the same. Obi-Wan was also in Forza Horizon 3.
Oh, okay.
Which I played, but I listened to the heavy radio station on there, so I didn't hear it from that. And they also had a couple tracks in some older games, which I thought was, so they're doing well, like soundtrack wise.
And it's
which
really
is where I
interesting.
sort of connected that music to. I was like, they'd be really good, just like the instrumentals being in like that kind of world. It's not something I'd sit down and like listen to, but I could see it being the backing track to something, and that's because that's what it has been.
Yeah.
Track 8, Slipping, very trancy. I think everything else has been kind of like bass heavy, which is I've enjoyed, but they've gone a little bit different here at this point, and I don't know if it's just me gaining familiarity with the album, or it's just happened to be this song. I appreciated the structure of this song because I never really knew where any of them were going, but this one, there's like a very definitive bell curve, almost like a double bell curve, where it starts here, ramps all the way up, and then it drops back down, comes back up again, and then tails off. Whereas the rest of the time, I'm like, I don't know what's about to happen at any given point. Yeah, I really appreciated that about Slipping. High Rotations was like spooky. Like it's very tense. It felt like I was watching like a horror movie and they're trying to like ramp up a jump scare. It was just a really interesting like sort of like cyberpunky kind of sound. It was like again just something that like would suit a soundtrack so well. And the only way I can describe like the bass is crunchy. Yeah. And there's just something about it that's just like that like even though it like sounded like an alert or like an alarm is going off and I need to get the fuck out of where I am right now, it was enjoyable. Again, another one that I think that without the vocals I would have much preferred.
Right.
Don't Make It Right, we go into next. Complete opposite vibe to High Rotations. We start off with some like nature sounds. It's like all very calm and relaxed after we've gotten through whatever disaster was happening in the background of the previous song. Yeah, a nice little change up to like slow the speed down. Because again, this whole album has just been about variety through and through, like just a little bit of everything. Yeah, I understand them switching it up, but they've taken away the one thing that I connected to most in just like it being upbeat. Like this is just soft and it's slow the whole way through. Okay. And again, not everything has to be like, but it's just like what I was enjoying was the sort of like ambient sounds that they had in everything while still having that sort of like crunch. And that
there's a through line that keeps it. Yeah.
It's just like ethereal and fairy, but they're still just like, and it works like for all the rest of the album. So they sort of took that away here, which I didn't appreciate. And the last track, Colours of Paradise, great closer. Like I didn't know how that was going to go here in terms of like, what does like a song on an album like this, like how do you make an outro song? But it very much feels like the last dance at a party, this song. There's just like a very like a finality about it.
Yeah.
And that's just like unexpected.
Right.
Because I didn't know what to expect. Like how do you close an album like this? This feels right.
Yeah.
And it is probably one of the better songs on the album in my opinion. And it helps that it's just so perfectly positioned as that last song. Again, you've got that like heavy bass line behind it, but you've got the relaxed tones of like the rest of the album other than the spooky High Rotations. That really stood out to me, like that song. That was just like very much like there's like alarms blaring. So that like is what has stuck with me. I just really appreciated how much like a conclusion and like a completion it felt. Any kind of a music that is heavily like electronic or maybe relies on instrumentals, I guess it can be hard to kind of trail off at the end. Yeah. And it doesn't necessarily trail off, but it just feels like a completion in a way that I can't describe.
Yeah.
My standouts were obviously the Eureka moment with Obi-Wan.
Yeah.
Was really funny. Yeah, Colours of Paradise, the closer, was great. And I also really enjoyed Ordinary. Yeah, just like a great start. You start off upbeat and yeah.
Cool. Yeah, I was interested to see, I think the genre, when I looked at it, is like psychedelic house,
something
ambient
like
trance or something.
There was a point, like I was trying to give it something and I couldn't even, because every song was different. Like I think it was early, like maybe 2 or 3 songs in, I was like, you could kind of classify it as maybe stoner rock, but there's just so much electronica in here as well. It's like,
on Wikipedia they call them a psychedelic dance band. They announced a tour. I knew there was a bunch of people that would want to go, and it was on in like at the Toraji Bowls Club in Wollongong, and that was like seeing them live was a completely different experience because they are all up there live and they've got like guitars and but all of the percussion is electronic. It just like felt like a very different thing. Like they don't play any song the way it sounds on the album. It's all, it all flows into the next song. It's like a DJ set.
That's what I was wondering because when you said you saw them live, I was picturing a couple guys behind decks because I don't imagine they're doing any of the singing, although
they do. Yeah. Well, live vocals, live guitar, pretty much. I can't actually remember if they have a live drummer, but he has like a drum pad.
Yeah.
But it was like unlike anything I'd seen live before, and that's what has also kept this so like stuck around with me for so long.
Yeah.
And I keep coming back to it because there's an extra layer of depth there where I'm like I can see a more complete picture when I listen to it. of like what this sounded like live, and like how like it was transformative, and there was so many.
Yeah, I'd not thought of that. Like, if again, before that, if you'd asked me to like imagine them playing live, I would not know what to picture. It's like, are they just like, again, just doing like electronic beats? Like, I wouldn't have pictured them with a guitar or vocals or anything. So that's interesting. Because again, don't imagine it would sound or look anything like what the recorded stuff does.
Well, there you go. What did was it? I guess the question now is it going on your rotation?
Won't be going in my rotation. It's just not one of the things that I'd sit down and listen to.
Especially if it makes you anxious.
Yeah. But it's something that'd be fine. Like, it wouldn't be in like an everyday playlist that I throw on and just have while I'm doing stuff. Mm-hmm. But again, if you've got a bunch of people over in like a summery pool party vibe, easy thing to throw on the back and no one's going to complain about.
Yeah. Nice.
That's how I feel.
Yeah. I didn't think it would.
No. Like, I think we both had the same sort of idea this week, whereas last week we were both just like, I'm going to show you some shit that you're going to like. It's like, this week we were like, I'm going to show you some shit you might not like.
Yeah. Last week was getting the baseline, and this week is like, what's the limit? What's the limit? What's the outer limit of like, what do we think is going to fit? So, the theme for this week, in keeping with the overall theme of the podcast, being that we're trying to discover new music, we're trying to break out from our
old habits of just listening to the same stuff over and over again because it's good and I want to, so why wouldn't I?
Give us new good and I want to. This week we're going with an album that was released in 2026. Part of that is that we're not going to be super familiar with our own picks.
No.
As I understand it.
No, part of the reason that I've got what I have, and I assume you are the same, is it's something that I think would be a good shared experience, but it's something that I also would like to revisit and brush up on.
Yeah. Well, for you this week, the 2026 album Aurora by the band Yes.
Interesting.
Yep.
Aurora by Yes.
Yep.
Can't say I've heard of them, so.
Oh, you've heard of them.
Okay.
Yeah. This is crazy to me because I did not know that Yes was still making music.
Okay. There's probably a big hit or two that I'm familiar with.
There's quite a big hit that most people in the world are familiar with. I'll let you go on that journey on your own.
Yeah, exactly.
I
said the same thing about Jagwar last week.
Exactly. Never heard of them, but actually have. Yeah. So
now, I've lied to you. I don't have a pick for this week. What? When I suggested this theme, I thought it was a great idea, just like an easy pick, something. I had too many options. So I'm going to need you to pick a choose your own adventure kind of thing. I need you to... I was settled on one at the start of today, and then I found some more, and I was like, I can't pick one.
Okay, so you've got options for me.
I'm going to need you to choose a number between 1 and 4. I've associated an album between the 4 numbers, and whatever it lands on is what we're going to do.
Oh, okay. 3 is calling to me.
Okay. Number 3 was Empty Hands by Poppy.
Okay.
Which was my first. The first one that I thought of and was like, yep, that's the one. And then I was like, I could do this and I could do this, and I started second guessing myself, and I was like, it's going to be easier if I just let fate decide, and that's what we're going to go with. But I'm happy with that.
It seems like you picked right. Fate was right, because that's what. Yeah. All right. Aurora by Yes and Empty Hands by Poppy are our albums for this week. I will update the playlist.
Sweet.
There'll be a link down below for you to follow, or you can search Get Wrecked or Wreck Me on Spotify. It should come up. I haven't tested it, but
if the algorithm likes us,
you'll find it. either way, you can find them yourself. You don't need me to help you out.
All right, do your homework and we'll see you next week.
Bye.